Hey, it's Sam, and I'm making this quick video to invite you to the upcoming Relationships and More weekend class that I will be holding, and it's going to be a live Zoom conference call that'll be happening, and you can attend this from the comfort of your home if you're seeing this in real time, or if it's after the event has passed, then you can get the recordings. But it's really a great opportunity to learn about relationships, and not just the 3D relationships that approach that I've taught before, but actually extending that model and that paradigm. Now, the 3D relationship course that I taught before will be a bonus gift. Now, this is 12 hours of recordings that were taught in 2013, I believe it was, and it shows the 3D approach that I developed. The first D of the 3D is assessing the individual and their capacity to have a relationship, because that's the most important thing, actually. Then we take that capacity and we see how our buttons get pushed with another person. That's what's called relationship synastry. And Western astrology works mainly through synastry, laying one chart on top of another. And then the last prong is the Vedic synastry system, or what's called the Kuta point system, where you compare the nakshatras of the planets and the special characteristics of each nakshatra. Now, again, I developed this system several years ago because people get confused. Well, which one do you use? Synastry or nakshatras or this or that? And again, what I've seen is how to use all of those things in a very elegant way, because they're different things. Of course, what winds up happening is, because relationship is complex, the more complex our understanding, the more things we have to deal with and juggle, the harder it is to know what to use. So we need to understand each thing and put it in its right place. So again, we start with the individual and evaluating the individual's tendencies in a relationship. Then we merge and we match that with other people's charts through synastry. Then we go deeper into it, and the deeper spiritual connections shown through the nakshatras in the Vedic Kuta system. Now, that's just a gift. You just get that when you register. And again, that's a 12 hours worth of classes that originally, when I taught the course, it was $197 for that weekend. I had about 10 people there. So that's just a gift. What I'm doing in the Relationships and More weekend, which will be about 15 hours worth of class time, is I'm expanding all of it a little bit. That's why I'm giving that 3D relationships course as a bonus, because I'm going to actually sort of start from that and extend all of those three prongs a little bit more, especially the individual evaluation, because the individual evaluation is really the one that I would say is the most important, especially the most important for each person to learn about themselves, and that includes you who show up for the class. You're going to want to understand your tendencies and why, the thing that all of your partners have in common is you. The thing that all your relationships have in common is you. And you have a tendency, you have tendencies, especially as they're related to each one of the planets, and really going deeply into evaluating each planet as contributing to our skills and deficits in relation to others. So for example, the sun is how we're able to express ourselves and how we're able to meet our goals and accomplish things from a healthy sense of identity, a healthy identity. And it's only with a healthy identity that we can share with others. Otherwise, we're looking for other people to define us. We're looking, and we're afraid that our identity is going to clash with another's identity and all of these things. So a healthy identity, that's one of the most important things in a relationship. Healthy capacity to receive, which is related to the moon, the capacity to be receptive. Rather than just assert ourselves in the world, we need to be able to receive as well. Some people are very good at asserting. Let's say they have a powerful sun, but maybe their moon is weak. So then they have a hard time receiving. So then they don't feel like they're, you know, getting enough. They feel like, I'm always the one doing it. I'm always taking care of the other person. Why doesn't somebody take care of me? Why do I always have to be the one nurturing others? Well, the reason is because you probably have a crisis of receptivity. Sometimes it's harder to receive because it means we have to be vulnerable. Moon is big with vulnerability. We're less vulnerable when we're giving and taking care of everybody. As soon as we say, okay, I'll let you take care of me, it's very different. So this is what the moon brings out. We're going to go deeply into that. Then we have the other planets, Mars, how we fight, whether we fight fair, what's worth fighting for, whether or not the person is just too aggressive and just wanting to constantly win these battles of the ego. That can be very difficult in relationships. On the other hand, if the person has healthy Mars and a healthy sense of courage, they could be a great advocate, wanting to defend the partner, defend the partnership, and have the courage to look at themselves. Mercury, it's about speech, communication, flexibility, intelligence, how we use language, whether or not we use language and our, you know, means of communication as a way to coerce and to manipulate, or whether we really honestly want to understand the other person and really listen. Communication isn't just what we're saying. It's what others are saying as well. And it's listening to them and really hearing it and being able to adjust. And again, then we have like Jupiter, which gives relationships a sense of purpose, sense of direction. Like, for example, children. This is why children are ruled by Jupiter. Once there's children in a relationship, it has a sense of direction. After the children are gone, now why are we together? It comes up. It's a big thing. Because then relationships have to still have a direction and a purpose. That's what Jupiter shows. And again, all of these are things that you'll see the person's individual nature. Maybe Jupiter's not very strong in their chart, so they get involved in a relationship and they don't really know where they want to go with it. Because they don't know where they're going in their life as an individual. So if we don't know where we're going, there's a saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So again, if somebody knows where they're going and they have a sense of purpose, which often is also related to things like our religion and our beliefs. Well, if you have a strong belief system or whatever, you don't want to be with someone who has a conflicting belief system. Again, if you don't have one, you can just kind of be knocked around in any direction. So again, very important. Of course, Venus is well known as a relationship planet because it shows the capacity to accommodate others, to compromise, to enjoy life, to want to find the good in things and the good in people, and, you know, to be able to find a higher sense of beauty and joy in the world as well. And Saturn is also extremely important. In fact, it's one of the most important, if not the most, to a committed partnership. Every committed partnership has to have some quality of Saturn, because Saturn shows the things we commit to and take seriously. So again, these are all very important structures. I'm also going to spend quite a bit of time talking about the nodes. Lunar nodes, extremely important in romantic relationships. You'll see that connections of the nodes through synastry, when you lay one chart on top of another, the connections of the nodes through synastry are very important because it makes the relationship feel kind of faded. But again, is it faded toward the past or the future, or what exactly is it showing? Other special qualities about the nodes that are related to relationships, they're very much about sexuality. For example, both Rahu and Ketu tend to exacerbate the gender planets. You have 3 planets that are masculine, Sun, Jupiter, Mars, 3 planets that are feminine, Moon and Venus. The connection of the nodes to one of those planets, to any of those planets in an individual's chart, and you'll notice that being very exacerbated in their personality. Again, we'll go over how that works, but it's really important. Again, also through synastry when the nodes contact. So there's a lot of things like this that I didn't teach in the initial 3D relationships weekend because I was just teaching the structure and the techniques of how to actually do the readings and whatnot. But these are things that will be talked about in much greater detail, especially with the people that are gathered. There's a great opportunity for case studies. You can bring your charts We're going to talk honestly about it, so we'll put people, you know, on the hot seat, and you know, it's always very educational when you have live case studies there, and you can see how these things played out. Again, that also includes with partners and whatnot. See how those synastry buttons got pushed and those Kuta buttons got pushed. And so there's nothing like a live conference. Again, as much as it might seem like, oh, it's internet class, this isn't an internet class where you just kind of listen to me talk. It's interactive. I'll be presenting there and people will be live. I also have my senior students, several of my senior students will be there answering questions. These are people who have studied with me for years. They're excellent astrologers in their own right. They're also monitoring the entire process while I'm teaching. They're answering questions, perhaps of students that are new, and then they feed me the questions after I've been teaching, because it's hard for me to be teaching on the, you know, teaching the material and then looking at the chat. I can't do it because it's too distracting. But again, so it's a real-time engagement, even in some ways more than if you go to a conference, because you know, when you go to a conference and the teacher is up there teaching, you can't be asking questions in real time while he's talking, right? But you can be doing that on the live Zoom weekend. So again, this is going to be a special event, and I look forward to having you be there. And for those students of mine who have already taken the 3D relationships course or who have been studying with me, you should really show up for this. This is going to benefit you a lot. You get a special discount. You've been contacted with that discount code. And if you're seeing this in real time while it's happening in early 2019, you don't want to wait forever because there's a cutoff date, obviously, because the class is coming up. So you want to go ahead and do that, and I'm sure it'll really be worth your while. So go ahead and register, and we'll see you on the Relationships and More weekend course.